Dear future Adia, I'm having this incredible spiritual awakening right now. And I know it sounds like hippy dippy and a bit kumbaya, but hear me out. And I just want to remind you of how incredible this period of your life is. And just like whatever happens in the future, like, it's just please don't forget your power. Just the state that I'm in right now is so beautiful. I hope that you stay in it for as long as you can, or try to maintain it or something, because I really love you and we're gonna do amazing things. Okay, so let me just remind you of what happened, okay? So basically I had that weekend of, do you remember, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, where all of a sudden, well, Aaron bailed on me. So I didn't end up meeting him, which ended up being a blessing in disguise because it meant that I had cancelled all my plans, which is really silly. Why would I do that for a man? Whatever. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise because every single day after work I came home and I creatively masturbated. Okay, this is the secret sauce. So we've been doing the O method for a while now, well, for like 6 months, and it's been amazing. But this is like the inverse version of the O method. So instead of it being sexual, like you're masturbating, you're using creativity. But it's the same energy because sexual energy is creative energy and creative energy is sexual energy. It's the same energy. But instead of, actually masturbating, I'm doing it through painting or dancing or music. And the way I figured this out was the last time I'd gone to the TOF with the gang, I realized that, I feel high even though I haven't taken anything or drunk or anything. I'm completely sober. And when we're at the TOF, we feel high off of just the music and the vibes and the energy. And it's like you have this soundgasm where the music just culminates to a climax in your body, and then all of a sudden at some point it's like you've come and you've finished, and then there's no your sensitivity to the music is kind of gone, and you reach this satisfaction point. And then I realized, why don't I actively try to do this? And so, because I've realized that I've done it, I have done it before, but it's never been a conscious practice. Like dancing, when you get that inspiration, the urge to dance and feeling it in your body, and I'm just freestyling and dancing until like my body just gives out and I have no more energy to give. It's the same thing. It's exactly how I feel at the end of doing the O method or a soundgasm. Same thing with painting. So anyway, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I did that. I sang, I danced, I painted, I did it all, like just over and over again. And I came like multiple times throughout the night. I also did the O method. Then, so Sunday was the last night I did that. Monday, nothing happened. Then Tuesday, I started manifesting all of these crazy freaking things within that 24 hours. So it was like, what was it? Wait, I think I've got my timeline mixed up. I don't think this is when Aaron messaged me then, because then I saw a car drive past with his his what's it called, his last name, and it was like a matte black Porsche, which is like him as a car, I feel like. I don't know. It drove past and I was like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if it's his car. Probably wasn't, because I don't think he's in Melbourne or like lives here, obviously. But then he texts me on Tuesday. And then Tuesday, it's like I manifested all of these things. So Tuesday, my agent texted me saying that I was on hold for a TV commercial in Bangkok for Samsung, which was going to pay 12.5K. Then I also got put on a last round of hold for a movie, a horror film that I was auditioning for the main character, and it was just out of me and 2 other girls. Then I also got offered my first music video as director. And then I also, on that day, got offered to do the development to that musical, Death to a Butterfly. And then I also got offered, oh well, what else? I can't remember. There was something else. I got like 2 more movie auditions and TV show auditions for that week. And then also Aaron texts me being like, can we call on Thursday? Crazy, what the frick? Anyway, so that just goes to show that like this creative masturbation thing actually works, and that you can manifest what you want out of just being in your power and like indulging in that creatively and doing creative things and just staying in that kind of magnetic energy state. Okay, so then what happened was I got a bit ahead of myself, I think, and I put my self-esteem into these opportunities, which was mistake. And I kind of like forgot that the power was in me, that I'm the one that did that. I'm the one that attracted that. And so I kind of lost it. And I lost the detachment that I have. You know, neuro knowledge always says like, if you're good with it, you're good without it. And I lost the kind of nonchalance. I'm self-sufficient. If things come, they come. And I put too much value and self-esteem and worth into these external things and forgot that the power was within. And so then I got released from the Bangkok shoot, which I was really upset about. And also then on Thursday, I had that chat with Aaron, which was incredible. I don't want to like get too much into it here. But yeah, it was incredible. You can see from my flashiness. And he was like everything and more. Anyway, enough, ew. So then after that, he said he was going to let me know when he was in Melbourne. And then he just never did. And it was supposed to be, he was like, I have to come for this business meeting. And so I'm definitely going to be seeing you within the next 2 weeks. And it just didn't, he just never messaged. So I don't know if he never came or what. But basically I was kind of a little bit heartbroken over that, because this has been 6 months of suspense. I still have not met this man. And just like, he just is infiltrated my brain. And I don't usually let that happen. Like if you ask any of my friends, for those of you who aren't future Artie watching this, if you ask any of my friends, they will testify that I am Samantha from Sex and the City. I don't let men have power over me. Like I just don't, like that just doesn't happen. So this is like an anomaly that this man has infiltrated my brain space, and all I can think about is him, and it's frustrating. Anyway, next. So I was upset. Then I want to say like 2 weeks ago, I had this insane, there was a whole bunch of like people asking me to do free things, and I was getting really upset because I was like, no, I'm beyond this. I'm done. We're doing free shit. I don't need to be a part of your free shit. And I just was like getting frustrated at like this idea that like I want to make this my full-time thing, creativity, and like I just don't know if it's possible in this country. And then there was this whole thing with the music video and how the artist changed the location on me last minute, even though I had storyboarded and shot list for the location that we had booked. And then I had to change up my entire thing. And I didn't communicate that I was really upset that she kind of didn't trust my directorial vision and completely disregarded all the work that I had done. And anyway, it just made me feel like, you don't know how fucking lucky you are to have me, like, even though this is my first time directing, like, you had zero vision and I brought it all to your video. So like, you have no fucking clue who you're working with. And there was a moment there where I discovered my worth for the first time as a creative. And it's funny because Georgia Kennedy, I shouldn't say last names on here, fuck. Never mind. Anyway, one of my friends was like to me about a year ago. Actually, probably exactly a year ago from this realization, which is actually crazy because it was her birthday the year before that she said this. We were playing Strangers Against Humanity? Strangers. We're not really strangers, that's it, not cards again. We're not really strangers, the deep conversation cards, and they're prompts and you ask each other questions or you answer for them or something like that. And the question she got asked was, say something to the other person that really annoys you about them. And she was like, Adia, oh, I got a bone to pick with you. And I was like, oh God, here we go, what is it? I was getting really nervous. And she's like, Adia, I just think that sometimes you play dumb, or you ask questions that you already know the answers to because you think that there's something, these answers are outside of you, and really you're putting these people on a pedestal just because they have like more experience than you, but actually what's annoying is that you actually know more than them, and that you're actually so wise and knowledgeable and capable. And she was like, I'd really just like to see you own your authority and your knowledge more and step into that power. And she's like, you know, it's a really great thing that you're always learning and you're always curious and hungry for more knowledge, but at the same time, that's something you've worked on. That's something that's integrated into your system. You don't need to work on that anymore. That's something that I need to work on. We all need to work on, but you've actually got that. You don't need to do any of that anymore. And she was like, I want to see you just own your authority. And just because someone else has more experience or success in the industry doesn't necessarily mean that they know more than you. Because I'm always here thinking that maybe there's something that they know that I don't know that got them to where they are, but it's not the case. And sometimes age isn't wisdom either. And we know this because we're on this high ceiling channel here and we're talking about being high ceiling. Anyway, so I had that realization because I was like, no, I'm not worth free work anymore. No, we're past this. I'm a professional and I'm elite at what I do. And mind you, I'm still growing and learning, but I've kind of done almost everything there is to do in this Australian industry. And I'm like, within 2 years, I'm out of here. I'm done. There's nothing left to do. So yeah, I don't need to be doing free work. I don't need to be doing favors. No, people can pay me for my time because it's valuable, and my speech is expensive. My vocabulary, my words, my knowledge, it's expensive, as it fucking should be. I worked so hard to like get to where I'm at, and it makes me annoyed now as well, but it was building so much anger in my body to the point where this was, I want to say it was like Monday, and I was just woke up this morning just feeling so angry at like just the industry and like, you fucking better know what I'm worth kind of vibe. And it was just the energy was bubbling at the seams of my skin. I felt like my physical body was going to explode because my energy felt so big that it was going to actually like crack through my skin and just burst at the seams. And I'd never felt so angry ever before, like just powerful, invincible. Like I posted a close friend story, I think that day, saying like, I swear to fucking God, if anyone crosses me today, if anyone even like looks at me the wrong way, I will fucking punch down. And I've never said that in my life. And like, I could literally rip a person's head in half. Like, that's how like full of power I felt. And just, I felt like there's so much energy. I don't know. Anyway, so I went to the gym. I climbed, I threw myself on like the heaviest boulders. I did my like PBs all day. And just nothing worked. And then at the end of the night, I was like, you know what? I just need to go to my river, my sacred river spot, for those of you who don't know. And it was the middle of the night. And I was like, you know what? It's freezing. It's like, it's going to be 6 degrees in the water. But I think spiritually, I felt so hot inside just from the rage anyway. But even spiritually, my soul felt like it just needed to be like, you know, a flame getting, like, quenched. I don't know what the word is, but I just felt like that needed to happen on an energetic level. And I was like, you know what? The sauna is only a 10-minute drive from the river. I will go, I will dip, I will have a swim, and then I will go. And I did it. I did it. And as soon as I got into the river, it was like pitch black. I walked through the forest in the pitch black like this. And you know what? I felt so calm. And I'm usually someone who's very paranoid about like supernatural things, and always like looking around and like scared of the dark. And I just didn't feel anything. I felt so safe. I felt like the river spirits were like watching me and holding me. And then I stripped down completely naked and nudie dipped in the river, and then O method after, and I just felt amazing afterwards. And I went to the sauna and I just sweated the rest of my tension out, and then went to sleep. And then the next day I went to work, my day job, and I was just having all these realizations throughout the day about time. And I was listening to Neuro Knowledge that morning, and he was saying something about like how time doesn't exist and how 3D reality is just an illusion. And I've known all these things for so long, you know, in Buddhism, growing up Buddhist, my dad's always drilled into our heads that 3D and material things, it's like really not real. It's like the tiniest portion of reality, and it's all just a mirage. And and I've been listening to Nero since November, and I thought I understood what he was saying, but it's like a deeper layer of acknowledgement, of recognition, all of a sudden flared up. And I was understanding like a deeper layer of what he was saying, and really like hearing like and seeing the cracks in the matrix, and being like, oh my God, time's not real. And one of the craziest things that I realized is, I don't know, he mentioned, or maybe it was him, I don't know, but somehow I came to this realization that reincarnation, because time isn't real, reincarnation isn't linear. So you could get born as me in 2025, and the next incarnation I could go back in time into the 1500s, and then I could go forwards into the 3000s. And it just clicked to me that, okay, time isn't linear. It's linear because we're looking at it zoomed up from our small perspective, but when we zoom out, it's something spherical, or because a sphere is still, it's 2D, oh sorry, 3D. So it's something incomprehensible, essentially. But anyway, I'll circle back to that, but just remember that point. So then I am having all these realizations at work and thinking, oh my goodness, I think I'm going through something. Like I think something's really shifting, and I can feel my guides asking me to be with this and be present to this. And I just feel like, yeah, everything, like my brain is shattering from the inside out and expanding. And I was telling myself at the end of the shift, I was like, oh, I was debating with myself. I was like, should I take tomorrow off? I feel like I just need a day to be by the river and consult my guidance and consult myself and paint and just be with these internal shiftings that are happening. And then at that moment that I was like tug of warring myself about taking tomorrow's shift off, my boss texts me and says, I'm so sorry, but I have to remove your shift tomorrow. Isn't that crazy? So I had the next day off. Crazy. I manifested that. And then that next day I woke up and I was like, yep, we're going to the river. I brought all my paints and my journal and drove to the river, got out of my car. As soon as I got out of my car, I felt the presence of just unconditional love. And you know, I feel very connected to the river spot. It's a very sacred spot for me. I worship the spirits there, so I felt their energy just encompass me into like this beautiful hug. And I just started crying immediately. And from my car all the way, it's like a 20-minute walk to my river spot, I was just crying the whole time. Then I got there unconsolably, I just crying out of like pure love, and oneness and unity, like this high. And I just could feel my energy just buzzing away at my skin, like not angry this time, but just so big and abundant and like powerful that it felt like my skin was going to shatter. Like it felt like I was going to combust into a million pieces, like my physical body. And anyway, I cried and cried for about an hour. Then I finally consoled myself. I meditated. I said a little prayer to the river spirits, and I always sing this like lullaby at the end of my prayers as an offering. And so I sang my lullaby. I opened my eyes, and I kid you not, the entire river, everything, all the trees, the leaves, the bushes, the shrubs, everything was glowing and sparkling. The trees were glowing blue. Like it felt like I could see their auras, and like everything was extra colorful and vibrant and had like these different hues of different colors. The only thing I can think of is I think maybe I tapped into a higher frequency and I was seeing the auras of the energy around me. And then I was just looking, and like everything kind of looked like a hologram. And I was like, wow, this really isn't real. Like 3D isn't real. Like this is just an illusion that we're living in. And then I closed my eyes, and in my mind's eye, because I went back to meditating to just calm myself down, I saw what I just registered as a new spirit guide. I'd never seen this entity before, but it just came at me in my mind's eye, like through this spot in the river, like that was glowing. And she was this like white, I painted her as a white being, like a ET kind of figure with this like wide head and kind of bug eyes and like wispy wings and kind of a formless body, but very feminine, and like white wisps going around and like the wings and stuff. She was just ethereal and gorgeous. And her name, she revealed to me, was Sinecret Cressida. I didn't know what that means. But then I spoke to her, and I was just hearing this really clinical kind of like almost Pleiadian. I don't know all the things, but maybe Pleiadian, like very like, we are working on you, like kind of robotic, like scientist kind of voice. And she basically said that I am receiving downloads and during my sleep that she will work on me and help me through this process, and that it's really important that I get extra sleep and rest and yin, because all of the lessons that I've been learning are finally integrating, and she's gonna give me extra abilities. And this is where it's crazy, because essentially I end up like, so yeah, I had this conversation with her where she basically tells me she's gonna work on me when I sleep. Then that night, so then after that, I called my vocal coach, Amanda, who is very woo and into this stuff and definitely vibrating on some high frequency. She's on another plane of existence. She feels very, almost like a goddess. Like she doesn't feel like a real human. Like when you meet her, she's this aura about her, and you know, she's been a part of my life for a very long time. She's very in touch with her spirituality, and we have a lot of these chats, and I'm very blessed that she's a mentor figure, almost like I call her my fairy godmother in my life. And so I FaceTimed her at the river, and she kind of helped me talk through it. And she was saying that, yeah, it sounds like I'm shifting out of 3D and into like the fifth density, which is this consciousness shift that apparently, according to the spiritual community, is happening to humanity. And some people will be like left stuck in 3D density, and others will move to 5D. And what she said is, she was like, now that you've gone through this, you can't really go back. So, and the way that I was saying it is like, I feel like I've always had these angel wings that are like tucked, but now I feel like they've opened up, and I've gone through this like Pokemon evolution, and they've opened up, and it's like I've got an extra sparkle or like an extra quality to me, where even people, I find people like noticing me more and like looking at me like, and it's like I just feel these wings just take up the whole space of like the room that I'm in. Just energetically, I feel so vibrant and abundant and like sparkly and glowy and magnetic. And she was like, yeah, you can't really tuck those wings now. They've grown out and they're bare. And she was like, now the important thing is that you're going to be living in 3D reality, but she was like, and that's fine. And you can talk to these people and you can interact with these physical world material things, but the important thing is not to invest into it, not to invest in it. Just partake, but always know that there is more. There is this whole unseen reality, and that the power is actually in you and not these material external things and all the things that I've been realizing. But it was just a really great reminder. And anyway, then she gave me this light language guy on YouTube that she's been like following, and she sent him to me like a link. And so I went home and I napped listening to one of his full healing sessions on YouTube, and I woke up from that nap feeling like a new human. Like I felt like I had a new body. And yeah, I just felt like it's like I literally just like went through a Pokemon evolution. And it's funny because it's like you get XP points and also special abilities, which is what my guide said would happen. And it's funny because since then, it's like all of a sudden I can paint now. Like I can actually, like I paint. Like I could never paint before. Like it was just like funsies. Like they were always crap and like cutesy and like childlike and very fun. But like now I can like properly paint. And I don't know where this came from. Like it just post spiritual awakening. And then the other night, I haven't touched my piano, I haven't touched guitar in 10 years. All of a sudden, tell me why I can improvise on both those instruments. Plucking melodies, just like the keys, it's like my hands knew which keys to press and like in what scale and like which combinations work and what keys would not work, just intuitively, like an overlay on top. I could see the patterns. And then tell me why I can sing better. Tell me why all of a sudden I can cry on cue. Like I could never do that as an actor, and now all of a sudden I've unlocked the ability to cry on cue. What else? We'll just keep going. There's so much. All of a sudden, like I can improvise properly in my dancing. Could never do that before. I have zero inhibitions. Like I went to my friend Kara's class, which is the first class I've been into ages, and my friend Nina was like, what happened to you? Like this is crazy. I've never seen you so free. It's like you literally don't have any care or inhibitions. Like you just let go completely, and there was absolutely not even an inkling of anything. She was like, you just entered into, and I felt like I was dancing with God. Like, and that's how it feels like now. It feels like prayers in motion when I dance. Like it feels like I exit this reality completely, and everything around me and all the people around me and the cameras, if I'm in front of cameras, like they all just melt away, and it's just me and God, and it's crazy. Anyway, so I had that sleep, right? Then I went to the sauna, then I came back, had dinner, and then I was going to go to sleep. And before I went to sleep, now, a bit of context here. I think that this spiritual awakening it really started this time last year, or maybe May last year, May 2024, when I picked up the Artist's Way for the first time. The Artist's Way, I'll have to do a whole separate video on it, but it came to me when I was on tour with a show, and I was heavily burnt out from performing and feeling so creatively stifled from the monotony of 8-week show schedule and doing the same thing over and over again. And I just lost my creative spark, and I've never had that happen throughout my life. I've been through 2 separate other depressions prior to this in my life, and those were much worse depressions, but the creative spark never left. So this was really weird because I don't feel like I was nearly as depressed, but my spark was gone. My creative urge, my impulse, as dancers or musos and stuff, we always talk about like when we listen to a song that we really like, we see this, like, automatically we see this like music video in our heads, and like this fantasy of like how the video would go and the dancing and the choreography and the camera angles and everything. And that's always just something that's been there whenever I listen to a song, and that was completely gone. It was like music didn't sound good anymore. It was crazy, and I didn't recognize myself, and I was like, I've lost my essence. I don't know where it's gone. And it was really scary for me because it was gone for so long that I didn't think that I could get it back, and I genuinely thought I damaged myself, just from just touring and performing and getting burnt out so much and drained creatively and energetically, and being in the wrong environment with people who were very limited in their mindsets, and shrinking my mindset as well. Anyway, so I started The Artist's Way, finished The Artist's Way. That brought my spark back. That like, it just gave me something to do every day to orient myself back into my inner child and play and find myself again. Then, The Artist's Way, I worked with 2 different mentors who are still with me. Then I also, Rachel and Neil. And then also I read Eat, Pray, Love and Big Magic. And then I read Julia Cameron's second Artist's Way book, which is Living the Artist's Way, where she talks about this very special practice that she has called writing for guidance. And I had always had an issue with praying, and this idea of praying and like, who am I praying to? And I don't feel like I deserve to ask for things, and I can just do it myself, and that's probably better. And I don't know how to talk to whatever's out there. And I didn't really believe in a theistic God, but I believed in a pantheistic God. So that makes it hard to talk to that because it's an impersonal entity. And it was just like, I feel this urge to pray, but I don't know how to do it. And so this book landed into my lap at the perfect time. And she basically gives this practice that is really great for the intangible, like gives it a tangible version of praying. So basically you write a question that you need help with to your guidance or to source or to God or whatever, and then stream of consciousness, you listen in your mind's ear and let the words individually reveal themselves to you, and they'll create a sentence. And so without thinking, you just go fast, and always a sentence makes sense, and it's something you wouldn't have thought of yourself, and it's not in your consciousness. So at the very least, maybe you're tapping into your subconscious, or your high self, or your guidance. I've always said it's my guidance. That's what I call it. But I think it's a combination of like me, my high self, my subconscious, and my spirit team. But who knows? And who really cares? Because it works, right? Like one time, so I got out of my 6-year relationship with Jordan at this time as well. And it was a massive life transition, coming off of a 2-year tour, breaking up with my 6-year relationship, saying goodbye to Sydney, coming to Melbourne, living back at home, reuniting with all my real friends again, finding a new job, and it was just crazy. Anyway, so I've been writing for guidance every day, and one of the things that it said during that time was, because I said, I feel really lonely. This is straight after the breakup. I feel really lonely. I don't know what to do. And it said, but I'm always here. And it was like, oh, and it just encouraged me to spend more time with myself. And I've so enjoyed that this period. It's like been the best thing. Just the joy of being in my own thoughts and being my own best friend and having conversations with